Hi, this is Janice from Space to Relax, and the video you're about to watch is a replay of a live class I taught on Zoom. These classes are free of charge for everyone to join, so please invite your family and friends. They're suitable for beginners and those of you with more Qigong experience. If you're watching this video on YouTube, then please don't forget to hit the red subscribe button so that you don't miss any future videos from me. I hope you enjoy the class. Today's class is all about how you can use your Qigong exercises and adapt them in order to suit your range of flexibility and mobility. And the reason that I'm teaching this class is that a couple of my Space to Relax members who are in my membership program asked me questions about how they could adapt their movements and the lessons which we go through in the membership in order to really accommodate their individual range of movements. So obviously not everybody is as flexible or adaptable in terms of movement as the next person. Some of us might have issues with being able to lift our arms above shoulder height, for example. Some people may have issues with their lower back, which means they can't bend forwards very easily. And so what I want to show you today are two examples of how you can adapt certain Qigong movements in order to suit your own range of movement. Because remember, the number one rule of Qigong practice is that you need to feel comfortable and relaxed. When you feel comfortable and relaxed, that is what creates the conditions whereby your qi or your energy can flow more smoothly throughout your whole body. So if there's anything at all which causes you to not be comfortable and relaxed, that kind of causes everything to constrict. It constricts the flow of qi through the body, and that's exactly the opposite of what we're looking for. So remember, always, always be comfortable and relaxed. And with any exercises that I show you in these free classes, if you feel there's a move you can't do for whatever reason that your body just doesn't allow you to do, then don't do it. Adapt it, do it in a smaller way, don't do it at all, just sit and breathe. That's perfectly fine, but be comfortable. And for those of you who are new to Qigong, then remember that movement is actually only 1/3 of Qigong practice. It's 1/3 of the practice itself. The other 2/3 are your breath and your mind, which are equally as important. So those three elements come together to give you this lovely flowing Qigong practice that we often see. So if you can't do a particular movement, remember you still have the breath and the mind as your other 2/3 to work with. So please don't feel like Qigong is all about movement. It's absolutely not. I've taught Qigong to people who are wheelchair users, to people with very restricted range of movement, but they can still practice Qigong because they can always use their breath and employ the use of their mind in order to help facilitate the movement of qi. So as I said, this class I'm going to show you kind of a two-part version of what's going on today. I'm going to show you two different exercises or movements whereby some of you might feel a little bit restricted, and I'm going to show you how you can adapt them. The first movement we're going to adapt today is the standing position. So I had a question from one of the my Qigong Space to Relax members, because what she was saying to me was that with the standing position, which traditionally is kind of having the feet parallel with the toes pointing towards the front, she was finding that really difficult because it was pulling around the outside of her hips. It was causing discomfort in the hip area. And that can happen if you move the toes in towards each other. You can feel this extension kind of around the outsides of the thighs and the hips themselves. Because often what we do when we walk, and if you watch people, especially if you're walking behind them, if you watch them walking, they often walk with their feet out to the sides. So often the movement is this, the toes are pointing outwards. They're not walking with feet parallel, okay? So our natural kind of way in which our body often goes is to have the feet pointing outwards. So what I want you to do is just come to a position where your heels are more towards the center and your feet are more kind of pointing out. Let's say if you were on a clock face, your feet are pointing at, say, 10 to 2. Have a little bend in the knees. and just see how that feels. And then bring your toes back into maybe kind of 11 o'clock and a 1 o'clock position with the feet. See how that feels, not just in the feet themselves, but around the hips and the kind of outsides of the thigh area. Just settle for a moment, pay attention to your legs all the way down from the hips, right down through the knees to the ankles and the feet. And now bring your feet into parallel position. So the toes are pointing straight ahead, the feet are parallel. So this is our classical Qigong stance, and see how that feels. Again, observing anything around the outer hip area. Now what I like to do is start to move the heels out. So the toes are pointing together, a little bit more kind of pigeon-toed, heels moving outwards. Now, how does that feel? Often when you move the heels away from each other slightly, you can feel a little bit more openness in the lower back. So that might suit some of you better. And then go a little bit more extreme with this and really see how far out you can get the heels. And for me now, that starts to really pull around here. So this is definitely not a comfortable position. Okay, so what I want you to do now is for yourself, because all of this with Qigong is about you and your individual range of movement, come into a standing position which you feel is comfortable for you, that's not causing any discomfort around the hips, the tops of the thighs, or in the lower back. So for me, because I've been practicing Qigong for a long time, it's very easy for me to stand with the feet parallel. For many people, the position that they would choose to adapt as the most comfortable one would be with the feet, with the toes just turned very slightly outwards, just to take the pressure off their hips. And that is absolutely fine. So find a position that suits you. And if you find that your position is not in this parallel foot position, and it is with either the heels out slightly or the toes out slightly, just for a moment now, close your eyes. Standing in this position with your knees slightly bent. And I want you to think from your lower back, all the way down your legs, front and backs of the legs, through the knees, through the lower legs, fronts and backs of the lower legs, into the ankles, the heels, the balls of the feet. Maybe allow the weight to fall back into your heels and pick the toes up off the ground. And then place the toes back gently onto the floor. And maybe just rocking forwards and backwards, shifting the weight. And see how that feels as you're standing in the position that's comfortable for you. Keeping the eyes closed now, just decrease that forwards and backwards motion and come to rest in a middle position where you feel as though the weight is evenly distributed between the front or the balls of the feet and the heels. With the eyes closed, bring a smile to the corners of your mouth. And remember, as I said at the beginning of the class, Qigong is made up of 3 elements. So it's the movement or the position of your body, the breath, and the mind. So now with the breathing, let's bring that in. And imagine that as you breathe in, you're breathing in through the soles of the feet, drawing the breath all the way up through the legs into the lower abdomen, into dantian, this area here in the lower belly. And then as you breathe out, you're breathing down through the legs, the exhalation traveling all the way down to the soles of the feet and deep down into the earth. So breathing in through the feet and up into the lower abdomen, and breathing out down through the legs. So the mind and the breath are nicely coordinated here. Having that picture in your mind's eye of the pathway of your breathing. Feeling anchored and stable as you feel the contact of the soles of your feet with the floor or the ground. And just observe here, with this view to adapting your body position to whatever is comfortable and available to you at this time. Just understand and know that it doesn't matter really what position you're standing in, as long as you're comfortable and relaxed, because you're all getting the benefit of coordinating the mind and the breath as you're in this position. You're hopefully all feeling strongly anchored and supported by the ground or the floor that you're standing on. Now, having said that, what you can do is also use your mind to visualize yourself in this ideal position of having the feet parallel. So even if they're not, have this idea and this picture in your mind of the feet being in the parallel position. So if your toes are slightly turned outwards, have the idea that the toes are turning back in towards each other. If the heels are slightly outwards, have the idea that the heels are coming back in towards each other into this parallel place. And even by thinking that and using your mind's eye to visualize that position, what you'll find is over time and with practice, you'll find it a little easier each time to get into the parallel foot position with no forcing, with no discomfort. Because where your mind goes, the chi follows. And as the chi follows, this opens up and dilates the pathways of flow, allowing for more energy, more blood, more fluid to come into the area, providing you with a little bit more flexibility and mobility in that area. So you see how you can use your mind to almost get yourself into your ideal position over time, but with no forcing at all, still remaining comfortable and relaxed. Now gently opening the eyes so that you can see me. So that shows you in a really simple way, and for those of you who've not done Qigong with me before, you might be thinking, well, is that it? That's just nothing happening there. You'll be surprised at how much is actually happening there. So it looks like I'm just standing here, or you may feel like you're just standing here. But if you would like to get yourself into that ideal standing position, then please don't underestimate the power of your mind and your breath to lead you in that direction. Now, you might never get there. You may never get to that ideal parallel foot position. As I said, it doesn't matter. You just want to be comfortable and relaxed. But if you do, then all the better. That's great. So that's one very simple way in which you can use your, just feel into your body and just adapt a position to your own level of flexibility and what's available to you. So I'm going to show you another example now. I'm just going to grab a chair, and if you want to grab a chair, please sit down, or you can do this standing up. This exercise is called Supporting Heaven, and it's the first one in the 8 pieces of brocade exercise, which I teach in my Space to Relax membership site. I teach it usually standing up, but you can perform it sitting down as well. So we're just working from a sitting position today. And the way in which you can adapt this exercise to your own individual levels of flexibility and mobility is quite simple. So what I'll do is I'll show you the full exercise, the full range of movement of the arms and the neck and the head. And then I'll show you how you can adapt that if you have any issues with neck, shoulders, or upper back or elbows, as often many people do. So what I'd like you to do first is just sitting with the hands on the knees, palms facing downwards. Make sure you're sitting up straight, so a nice straight back, not hunching in the shoulders, shoulders moving down, away from the earlobes. Tuck the chin back towards the throat, drawing the chin in and feeling lovely length up the back of the neck. Close your eyes, close your mouth. Allow the tongue to rest against the roof of the mouth and the tip of the tongue against the back of the upper teeth. Bring a smile to the corners of your mouth to relax the muscles of the face. And just beginning with 3 abdominal breaths. So breathing in through the nose, feel the belly expand as though you're blowing up an imaginary balloon in all directions. And then as you breathe out, in your mind's eye, see the belly shrinking, exhaling through the nostrils. So the breath is in and out through the nose, smooth, soft, and silent. Still with the eyes closed now, just before we begin this exercise, what I'd like you to think of now is a very slight, gentle contraction in your lower abdomen, around the buttock area, in the anus. So it's as though you're pulling everything in towards the center, the hip bones moving towards each other. So drawing everything in and stabilizing the whole of the lower abdomen area. Opening the eyes now. So just keep going with normal breathing for now. We'll bring the breathing in later. So place one hand on top of the other, and the movement is very simple. So drawing the hands up by bending in the elbows, keeping the shoulders down. At chest level, turn the palms to face each other, then facing down, facing out, and then pushing the palms up above your head towards the sky and looking up at the hands. Then separating the hands out to the sides, come back to looking forwards as you lower the hands. So from here, drop the shoulders first. You'll find the shoulders then lead the hands down, allowing the hands to drop down, and then just pushing the palms back down towards the ground so that the palms are parallel with the floor. So now let's do that with the breath. So one hand on top of the other. And take a breath in as you lift the hands. Turn the hands over. And then as you extend the hands upwards, breathe out. Looking up at the hands. Separating the hands. And now breathe in. All the way down. You might need to go a little bit faster to keep up with your inhalation so you don't get out of breath. And then breathe out, pushing the palms down. So now bringing the mind into this. So one hand on top of the other. firming everything in the lower abdomen area, buttocks, anus, tightening slightly in the abdomen, but not with great tension. You still want to maintain a little relaxation. Now, as you breathe in, think of drawing up the intestines, the small and the large intestines, up towards the rib cage. So sucking everything up, holding the abdominal organs up. And then as you breathe out, stretching through the sides of the body, which is where the liver channel runs, and looking up at the hands, using the eyes, so stimulating the liver channel, as the eyes are the sense organ of the liver system in Chinese medicine. Now breathing in, using the mind here, thinking of drawing in lovely qi or energy from nature, from the environment, through your fingertips, through your arms and down into dantian in the lower abdomen. Turning the hands over, breathing out, bringing your mind to that connection that your hands have with the ground or the earth. So now, if you can't get that full range of movement there because there's an issue with your shoulder or with an arm, or your neck is at you in some way, this is what you can do just to change everything around. So for those of you who've got the full range of movement, just follow along with what we were just doing there. For those of you who want to adapt this, say you've got one shoulder, which definitely you can't lift above the level of your forehead. So you will come up, so in getting into the position here, breathing in, breathing out. Now, say I can't go above the level of my forehead here. I just go to here, look at my hands, then breathing in. And as much as I can, try and keep the movement symmetrical. So I wouldn't be going all the way up with one hand and not with the other one that can't move. So keep this lovely circle as much as you can. Now, say you can't drop your head back, you have a problem with your neck, your arms are fine. So you're breathing out. So you get to here and you can't look up at your hands. You just continue to look forwards, but instead in your mind's eye, you visualize yourself looking up at your hands. So still using the mind and the breath, and then breathing in, absorbing qi from nature, and breathing out, connecting with the earth. So we'll do 3 movements together now, 3 rounds of this. So adapt this exercise as you need to be comfortable. You know the full range of movement. So if you can't quite get the full range of movement today, see it in your mind's eye as you do it. You don't have to actually physically move your body into that position. So closing the eyes for a moment, settling the body, contracting slightly in the buttocks, anus, abdomen, drawing the hips towards each other, firming that whole lower abdominal area. Checking you've got the lovely length in the back of your neck by tucking the chin towards the throat and bringing a smile to the corners of your mouth. Now opening the eyes, breathe in, lift the hands. Breathe out, turning the hands over, stretching up towards the ceiling. Separating the hands, breathe in, looking forwards, drawing qi in from the outside world, dropping the shoulders. And breathing out, pressing the palms down very gently to connect with the ground. Breathe in, up towards the heart center. Breathe out, up towards the sky. Drawing the intestines up towards the rib cage. Breathe in, drawing lovely, energizing, healing qi of nature through the arms, down into dantian in the lower abdomen. Breathe out, connecting and anchoring yourself with the ground. Third time now. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in from nature. And breathing out. And just for a moment, let your hands just drop down by your sides. Very loose and relaxed. Close your eyes. Breathing in and out through the nostrils. Using your abdominal breath. And pay attention to any sensations that you feel in the arms, in the hands, any warmth, tingling, sensation of swollen fingers, like your hands or your fingers are bigger. Anything in the lower abdomen area from having that sensation of lifting up in the abdominal organs towards the rib cage. That can be very helpful for anyone who feels like everything's very heavy and sluggish and bloated. And if you feel any tingling or warmth or buzzing in your hands, that's a great sign that you've been able to create the conditions for more qi to flow into the hands and the fingers, just by your simple movements of breath, movement, and using your mind. And even if you didn't get the full range of movement, but you've got the tingly fingers, then you did a great job. You facilitated the movement of qi into the hands. So even without a full range of movement and reaching up to the sky, if you've got the tingly fingers, then that's great. Now, still with the eyes closed, bring one hand to rest on the lower belly, with the other hand directly on top of that. And now, sealing in your practice by circling firstly in one direction, and then in the other direction, giving your belly a little rub. And slowly opening the eyes, bringing the hands to rest on your knees. So I hope you enjoyed that very simple little practice. It wasn't really a routine as such today, but what I wanted to show you is how easy it is to adapt various Qigong exercises and movements, because if I had €1 for every question I got by email about how can I do this exercise because I can't move my shoulder, or I can't move my leg, or I have a problem with my back, I find that I end up answering the question in the same way each time. It was, well, if it gives you pain or discomfort, just don't do it and do something else. Do it in a different way. So you have to kind of think outside the box a little bit and adapt your practice, but bear in mind that even if you don't have the full range of movement, you still have the breath and the mind to work with. So it's no big deal. So it's better to do something than nothing at all. But you can always breathe and use your mind. So I want you to see just how easy it is to adapt Qigong movements to whatever your individual needs are. I do hope you enjoyed this class, of course, and if you have any questions, then please send me an email to janice@spacetorelax.com, or you can post a comment in the free Facebook group, which is Space to Relax Free Qigong Group. Also, I would encourage you, if you would like to donate as a thank you for this class. They are free, but if you want to give some money, then I give 50% of the proceeds to the nurses in the intensive care unit here in my local hospital. The other 50% goes towards the upkeep of my website. If you want to head over to YouTube, you can hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any videos from me. And I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson. If you enjoyed this Qigong lesson, then there are 4 things you can do right now. The first thing is to head over to my website, which is spacetorelax.com, and there you'll see that you can join up for a free 3-part video series. The second thing you can do is click the link next to this video to sign up for the live Qigong classes, as I teach these once a week. The third thing you can do is go over to Facebook if you're on Facebook and look for Space to Relax free Qigong group. That's my free group where you can post any questions, and please do join the group. And the fourth thing is, if you're watching this video on YouTube, then please hit the red subscribe button so that you don't miss any future videos from me. I really hope you enjoyed this lesson and look forward to seeing you in the next video.